The All-Party Parliamentary Group for Shipbuilding and Ship Repair has launched its report on the National Shipbuilding Strategy. Based on evidence from experts in the field, the report calls on the government to ensure domestic yards receive the Fleet Solid Support Ship contract in order to retain the skills needed to construct, refit, and upgrade complex warships in the future. The report states that the industry is already facing significant redundancies as the aircraft carrier programme runs down, with the subsequent loss of leading-edge skills. Once lost, the report argues, these skills cannot be quickly regained, and the UK's sovereign capability to produce complex warships will suffer accordingly, as will the UK's ability to project naval power. The APPG states that it is the responsibility of the government to ensure the Royal Navy receives its equipment from a leading-edge supply chain and support structure, and is therefore able to maintain its operational advantage. The report is linked in the video description below. Chair of the APPG, Kevin Jones MP, has called on government to ensure the £1 billion contract for Fleet Solid Support ships is handed to British yards in order to preserve the UK's capability to design and construct warships in the future. General Secretary of the Confederation of Shipbuilding and Engineering Unions warns that as carrier programme runs down, closures and redundancies are already starting to blight shipyards and supply chain. Conservative MP Anne-Marie Trevelyan states that with the appointment of my right honourable friend Penny Mordaunt as Defence Secretary, this is the ideal time for the government to reconsider its current position and signal to the private sector that the government is committed to providing a steady stream of work to UK shipyards and the supply chain. The report argues that UK shipbuilding is primarily driven by military sources of demand and long-term national security considerations. However, the current feast or famine nature of military demand threatens our ability to maintain the sovereign capability to produce warships. The National Shipbuilding Strategy significantly reduces the scope of ships that the UK is qualified to build and threatens the long-term viability of our fragile shipyards, say the group. Furthermore, the government's inability to produce certainty for industry through a secure timeline of contracts endangers the UK's position as a world leader in shipbuilding. Certainty around future orders, driving industrial drumbeat, would enable private sector shipbuilders and the wider supply chain to invest in infrastructure, facilities, and emerging naval technology, thus renewing the UK's competitive advantage. Secondary economic impact and tax returns would provide further benefit to the UK as a whole. It must also be further understood that the benefits of investment in shipbuilding are not confined to historical shipbuilding areas alone. Shipbuilding and the supply chain will not make required investments unless the business case stacks up. The report goes on to point out that shipbuilding is a hugely capital-intensive industry, with one of the highest barriers to entry of any major industry in the world. Consolidating a position within the market and securing a reputation for excellence requires strong cooperation between government, industry, and the research and development base. The industry already faces significant redundancies as the aircraft carrier program runs down, with the subsequent loss of leading-edge skills. Once lost, these skills cannot be quickly regained, and the UK's sovereign capability to produce complex warships will suffer accordingly, as will the UK's ability to project naval power. Read more about the efforts to have the Fleet Solid Support ship work undertaken in the UK by following the links in the video description below.